Hello everyone, welcome to video lecture series on programming with C. In this video, we'll discuss various programming elements used in C. So what are identifiers? Identifiers are the names given to programming components such as functions, variables, classes, or macros. So what is a variable? A variable is a programming element which is used to store data of certain type. When we create a variable, memory is allocated and value is stored in it. We can change the values stored in a variable. So how to declare a variable and how to initialize a variable? To declare a variable, we have to use one of the built-in data type. Now the question is, what is data type? Data types are used to indicate what type of data will be stored in a variable. There are certain built-in data types available in C. The built-in data types are integer, floating point, and character. In the integer category, we have short, int, and long, whereas in the floating point category, we have float and double. For storing characters, we have char data type. Now let's declare a variable of integer data type. To do this, we have to specify the data type followed by the variable name. Now, how we should name variables? There are certain rules that we have to follow for naming variables. The first rule is a variable should always start with an alphabet. So, we'll declare a variable with the name, say, number. Let's see whether it is working. Yes, fine. Now, can we have numbers in variable names? So let's try to declare a variable starting with a number, say int 1n. Let's try this. If I compile this code, it will give a compile time error. It means that a variable name should never start with a number. Now the question is, why it is not allowed? To understand this, I'll declare one more variable, say integer x is equal to 20. Now here I'm declaring the variable as well as I'm initializing the value of the variable. If you look at both the lines, now how the compiler will come to know whether it's a value or it's a variable name. Whenever we are assigning values, those are known as literals. So it becomes very difficult if we start variable names with numbers to differentiate between literals and variable names. That's why it is not allowed to start a variable with a number. Then, can we use special symbols? So let's see. I'm declaring a variable int with name, say, underscore a. Then I'm declaring a variable with int, say, $b. Let's see whether the code is working. Yes, it's working. Now I'm declaring another variable int at the rate, say, c. Let's see whether it works or not. So it is giving a compile time error saying that at the rate cannot be used here. It means that variable names cannot start from any special character except underscore or dollar. That's our third rule for naming a variable. Now, let's declare a variable like this, int underscore equal to 20. Will it be valid? Any guesses? Let's compile. Yes, it's a valid variable name. Can I declare a variable like this? Yes, it's a valid variable name. If you see these two examples, I have declared a variable name as underscore, and second time I have declared a variable name as double underscore. It means that in C, single underscore is a valid variable name and double underscore is also a valid variable name. Can we use them in expressions? So to understand this, I'm declaring another variable, say add is equal to underscore plus double underscore, and see, we will try to print the value of this variable add. So let's print the value of add and check whether it works. So if I compile and run this particular code, yes, is it working? Yes, it's working. So it means that only underscore can be a valid variable name. Another rule for naming variables, a variable name cannot be a keyword. So we have certain predefined words available in C, such as int. Int is a keyword, so you can't name a variable as int. In addition to this, though numbers are not allowed in the beginning, you can add them or you can use them in between the name of the variable. As you can see, I can have a variable name like number 1. This is how we can work with variables in C. As discussed earlier, there are integer, floating point, and character data types in C. How these data types differ from each other? An integer data type can store only whole numbers, whereas a floating point data type can store a number containing decimal point. In the integer category, we have short, we have int, and we have long. Now, how these data types differ? These data types differ in terms of the magnitude that they can represent. In other words, they differ in terms of the sizes of them. So, we'll print one by one each of the data types size. And to print the size of a particular data type, we can use size of operator. So what we will do, we will print size of each data type and have a look at their sizes. Let's see what are sizes of each of these data types. We can compile and run the code and you will find that the size of short is 2, the size of int is 4 and the size of long is 4. One of the key things that you have to remember in C, the data sizes of these data types depend on the compiler and the operating system which you are using. In the floating point category, we have two data types, float and double. Again, float and double differ on the basis of their magnitude or their sizes. The size of float is 4 bytes and the size of double is 8 bytes. Let's declare a variable of floating point, say f is equal to 3.4. There's one question many of the interviewers ask. Say for example, I'm trying to print the value of float, and for printing the value of float or say double for that matter, what I'm doing here is I am dividing f divided by say 0. Any guesses what will happen? Many people feel that this will result into an exception. Let's see what happens if I compile and run. Actually, if I run this particular code, I will not get any exception. Actually, I'm getting the output and the output is infinity. Now, why I'm getting this output? See, when we are trying to divide a floating point number by 0, according to mathematics, it is supposed to be infinite. And that's why the result is f divided by 0 is infinity. However, when you try to divide an integer by 0, it may result into an exception. Many people do mistakes in this particular question. Then we have char data type. You can use char data type to store characters or you can store the ASCII codes of the characters. Like say for example, if I store char C is equal to 65 and say I'm printing its value, if I compile and run this particular code, actually I'll get the ASCII code for 65, and the ASCII code for 65 is A. Characters are integers. Internally, they store the ASCII code of the respective character. This is how we can work with data types in C.